Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. I'm your host, RJ, proud Balanced Blue. Happy days for the one and the only, the GOAT, Lionel Messi. Scott, Rob, how are you feeling, boys?
Yeah, bloody brilliant, mate. Can't wait to get this done.
I'm just going to sit back for once. I think I'm the one that's going to be sitting on the fence tonight, and you guys can blue it out. But now, look, I have to say, I just want to give a clap, boys, because what a month for football. This World Cup has been a memorable one. It's been an unpredictable one. It's been highs and lows, and I don't think we'll ever see a better final to finish it off than we did this morning. Let's just say that.
Great to put that out there, Rob. It was a phenomenal game overall, and credit to both teams. It was a fantastic final in what was a very unpredictable, high-octane World Cup filled with controversy, filled with plenty of goals, plenty of drama. But you know what? That's the way we want the World Cup to end. Regardless of the result, that's the kind of finish you want to such an unpredictable World Cup. But Scott, I know you're fired up, mate. You're feeling blue, lay blue. Talk me through it, mate. I know you're a bit upset.
Nah, man, you know what? I'm playing your game tonight. I'm just going to take a comfy seat on the fence, say nothing controversial, smile my way through it. But I already disagree with something you said. You said that's the way we won the World Cup to end. It's not for me. Penalty shootouts, man, it's not the way. It's not the way. And we've talked about this before. I just think to put it down, I was listening to someone this morning. I can't even remember where it was. I was saying you play 120 minutes completely as a team to do what you need to do as a team. Then it comes down to, it's all individual. And Martinez, they were never going to lose. They were never losing a penalty shootout with Emi Martinez in there. He's a penalty beast. And
we were very confident, weren't we, Borgie?
100%. We both said it. Someone in this stream tried playing it down, was like, it's 50-50, but
like it wasn't
with Martinez. It's not.
Okay, mate. You're the most saltiest fan. Just take the L. Messi had a good tournament. He won the player of the tournament, had an absolutely unreal World Cup campaign. Your boy scored 2 penalties in that game to complete a hat-trick, which was an excellent performance from him. But let's get it straight. For the first 80 minutes, France were hopeless, absolutely woeful, did nothing in that opening 80 minutes. Argentina, by far the better team. Through fluke chance, they got their way back into it via a very terrible penalty from Otamendi. And then the second goal, brilliant work from Mbappe, top draw finish. But then after that, it was all up in the air. And overall, Argentina were the deserving winners, and Messi was the deserved golden ball winner. So, look, there's not much more to say. He's completed football now. To all the haters out there, we'll just do the old ear cup thing because he was unbelievable. 35 years old. Look at his stats. They speak for themselves. So that's all I'll say on the Messi debate.
You nailed it, man. You hit the nail on the head.
I think I did.
Robbie?
But tell me, Rob, because I know you're a bit more balanced than Scott at the moment. France supporter is very upset. How do you think that Argentina went overall when you consider all of the other winners in previous tournaments? Because it wasn't perfect.
No, look, mate, I'll tell it how it is, mate. My team, not my team. And I do have to say I do agree with majority of what you said, Arj, because I did think that, I think it was pretty obvious to say that France, if it was the illness, if they just didn't turn up, but for majority of that first part of the game, it's either that or just Argentina were just full throttle very good, okay? Because they came out, and I think it was one of the first things I wrote in our group chat this morning. I said, France have gone very pragmatic, or Argentina just want to come out and get a very early goal because they were peppering their goal. They just kept hammering them and hammering that all the possession. And I was shocked because obviously, you know where my allegiance was this morning. I definitely wanted the France to win, and for obvious reasons. But yeah, I do have to say, after the whole 120 minutes per shootout, I do think on today's performance that it definitely went to the right team. I think Messi has had a very good tournament in general. I think it's been a bit of a build-up. Again, I do think he's definitely got a bit of the rub of the green in certain games throughout the tournament. That's not saying this game, but I do think, and I'm not going to say Messi, actually. I'm going to say Argentina. I do think they've had some calls go their way during the tournament, but I do think that you can't take anything away from them today. I think they were the better team. I do think there was about 10 when Mbappe scored that double, and I think, from then to the end of the game and even large chunks of the extra time, I did think that the momentum changed in France's way. I thought they could have gone on with it. Obviously,
Same.
Messi got the goal in extra time. For me, I actually thought the game was done then. I'm like, there's his magic moment. There's the, the last dance moment. We're going to see that further. To score in extra time, go in a World Cup final, I didn't think there was going to be a return from then. Late drama again. And let me just say, the balls on Kylian Mbappe, mate, he put, throughout the game and the penalty shootout, to put it in the same spot 3 times. I'm just going to say, Harry Kane, look at that, mate, for someone that's, 5 years younger than you, whatever, 10 years younger than you in a World Cup final. And that's, the one to equalize, like we've seen what happened last week with Harry Kane, just to equalize. I just think, wow, I was shaking just watching him do it. So, and the thing with him, I don't think he let Martinez in his head, because he was just, as soon as the referee blew that whistle, he was like, I just want to hit it. I don't want to hit it. He didn't think about it. So, you have to give massive credit to him, man, because I think, like I said, he wasn't, again, I don't think he was great the whole game, but when he turned up, he scored those 2 quick 5 games. He puts his penalty in the back of the net. But at the end of the day, I do have to say, Argentina and Messi were deserved winners. And I think it's, you continue.
But Martin,
you can't argue it. He had a good tournament. Yeah, Messi had a very good tournament. Goals change games. That first penalty, we could probably discuss that in depth. No point now. I don't think it was a penalty for Argentina. And like you said, Robbie, they've had a favourable cup. There was the narrative from day one. I'm not saying it was rigged, RJ, but it wasn't a pen their first time, whereas both of France's, to me, were clean pens. And it wasn't the first penalty Argentina have got that was dubious. But again, to me, if I'm having to pick, I want to ask you, RJ, the Golden Ball, what's that for? What do you think that award means? You tell me.
Well, firstly, France's first pen was a foul before he got to the box, so I dispute that one being a penalty. So I thought that should have been a foul before he got there. So if we're going to play that game, I would say that. And the second one, if you look at his stats for the game, because I had a look at that to see how he ended up getting the man of the match today. Overall, so he had the most passes in the final third, 34, most passes into the opposition box, most shots on target, 3 chances created, 2 goals, and even his flick to set up the second goal, which was an amazing counter-attack finish, by the way. Great from Di Maria.
That was a great goal. I love that goal.
Mate, I hate people that just specifically look at what I've just done in terms of the stats, but the reality is the Golden Ball for me is a combination of both the end product, so the stats, but also the individual moments that they produce in the games. Well, we look at Mbappe, his cold hard stats were brilliant today in terms of the 3 goals, but the reality is he had one of his worst performances up until those moments. He was totally ghosted in the knockout phases, even in the semi-final and the quarterfinal, hardly did much. He had one good moment the game before against, against Morocco, where he had that dribble. But overall, I thought the Golden Ball is a combination of both, the stats and the moments you produce. And his bottom line figures at his age are something that I'm in total awe of, mate. So I think he deserved it.
To me, it should have been Emi Martinez Golden Ball.
What for? He let in 3 goals today. He let in 2 goals against Netherlands.
They don't get there without his penalty. His penalty heroics got them through against.
But they wouldn't have had penalty shootouts if he saved them.
Heroics, but that's like saying a striker missing a chance. They wouldn't have gone into extra time had they not missed chances. He was the hero. He was Argentina's hero this cup. He won them the penalty shootout, won them the final. It was never a doubt once it went there. I just
that last-minute save he did was brilliant.
100%. That last-minute save kept them in for the penalties. Then penalty shootout. Robbie and I both said it. It's done. There's no. They didn't even need to take the penalties. So, to me, I know Golden Glove he got great, but it should have been Golden Ball for me. That's all I'm saying.
How do you judge it based on that, Scott? So, what about the overall?
He was their most influential player. He was the most influential player for me.
Look, I think
he won them 2 dead massive games.
He won them. Those awards are like we've all seen before, boys. It's a little bit of a popularity thing, like we've seen the Ballon d'Or these days as well. I remember we go back a couple of years ago when Messi lost the final. He got the Golden Ball of the tournament still as well. So, it doesn't have to be to the winning team. It's supposed to be for the player of the tournament. Was he the player tournament? I think he has to be right up there. For me, Griezmann was right up there. Obviously, he was on the losing side of the coin today. I think it was
And
going
really
to be
poor today as well, not just on the losing side.
Oh,
Poor.
I agree. But
Yeah.
look, if we're gonna be honest, boys, and I'll be biased here. I think Messi could have been the worst player on the pitch today, and
He
if
was
they won
gonna
the
get
World Cup, I think it was just the captain. He was always going to get it because he had a good tournament regardless. But
He
you
did.
know what I mean?
But is
They
that
got what
fair
they
to say
wanted.
on this performance today, based on those stats, like the 2 goals, the role he played in the
No, I thought
third
he was
goal,
great today.
and
I
those
thought
other
he was really good
metrics?
today. I thought he was really
Like,
good today.
yeah, Di Maria was very, very good as well. We've got to take our hats
He
off
was
to
their
him.
best player before he got subbed. The comment was right. As he was in the Copa America, he was probably their best player as well. Like
In the final, yeah.
it's always going to be Messi talk, but I think Argentina as a unit had a very good cup, and the fact that he gets like 90% of the praise is on him, which is always going to happen. You're always going to be in his shadow as a teammate, but
It's
I
always,
just
if
think
it was Portugal, it'd be Ronaldo. It'd be the
100%
exact
it would
same
have been.
thing. It's just
Yeah.
and the same for France. It would have been everyone. It was Messi versus Mbappe today. That's what they kind of the subplot of this game was, and they both stepped up, to be honest, on stats anyway. They got their goals. They hit back at each other. It was back and forth. You know, I remember when Messi hit back at 3-2, he went back and kind of gave the fist pump in front of Mbappe, and then Mbappe got the penalty back. So it was great theatre today from both of them.
Yeah, well, it was entertaining. And look, the final's done. We know our winners. Argentina are the World Cup winners this year. Let's look at the World Cup as a whole. Were you impressed by this World Cup, Robbie? Was it what you expected it to be?
Like I said from the start, I really think it was a really great World Cup. A lot of people from the start, I know some people didn't watch it. Personally, I know a few people out of protest, whatever. And for me, it's a World Cup. It's football, number one. It's a World Cup. It's the pinnacle of football. And, you know me, I watched 95% of the games and I loved it. And that's why, a big reason why I try and watch as many games, because if it's Korea versus Canada or someone like that, you just don't know when a freak moment's going to happen, a turnaround's going to happen. And we've seen plenty of these, with the Asian Cups. The Asian teams really rose up. I really fell in love with the Socceroos this World Cup. Obviously Italy wasn't there, so I really got hooked onto the Socceroos fever. We've seen some big boys go out. Germany and Spain, a lot of people predicted them to be, at least to the top 8. So I really think it was a really good World Cup. I do have to say it wasn't a great World Cup for goals, in my opinion, or memorable goals. There might have been I reckon we could probably do 5 on our hand that were really great goals. There wasn't like a lot of long-range rockets and stuff like that. It was a lot more counter-attacking goals, set pieces, stuff like that. So that's the only con I think I have to say about the World Cup.
RJ?
Yeah, I agree with the goal quality. And that was actually one of the criticisms all around. It was an exciting campaign, but I think because it's mid-season, there's a fatigue factor, and also that contributed to the overall quality. Maybe, I dare say, the climate, for those that think that's a bit controversial. But overall, it was very end-to-end. All the players gave 100%, and I just thought that the final capped off the perfect drama in what was one of the most unpredictable World Cups. For me, I think a lot of credit should be given to some of the smaller nations, traditionally smaller nations, that really shocked us. Obviously, Socceroos being one of them, Saudi Arabia. Morocco was number one for that. They had a phenomenal tournament, really represented the Africa region quite proudly. So I think that's one of the key themes, is to say that in any given moment, it's not a foregone conclusion just because you're one of the elite nations that belong in that inner circle. You really have to earn your bread and butter. And while it was nice to see France and Argentina do battle with the traditional heavyweights, it would have equally been, for me at least, an awesome headline to have a new story written if Croatia won or if Morocco had won. But overall, fantastic tournament from an entertainment point of view. Yeah,
look, for me, I thought the climate was going to play a big part. I don't think it did at all. I have to say, it seemed well managed. Everyone I know who was there, who I've spoken to, has said they had a good time. It was very hospitable. So no issues there. Look, if you want to go down the path of talking about, I saw there was a comment from Shano saying no drunken idiots either. I believe people should be able to enjoy football however they like to enjoy football. I do wonder, from a marketing perspective, when we may see the next World Cup or big event like that go back to the Middle East, purely from a financial perspective, because I know that FIFA would have taken a hit from that Budweiser deal. No matter what your kind of stance is on drinking or whatever, we know FIFA like money, played a big part in the World Cup actually being there. That's well documented. But I think they put on a show. It was a good cup. And again, I've not spoken to anyone over there who said it wasn't an enjoyable cup. So I just wonder money-wise and sponsorships, what may happen in the future. So
I think they made $1 billion more, if I'm not mistaken, this time around. Or was that for the next one that they've predicted? So I think they've cleaned up well this time around.
Oh, you're always going to clean up for World Cup. It's the most marketable event in the world. But we'll have to wait and see. But it was a good cup. Good cup. For me, the World Cup of the underdog. The World Cup of the underdog. And I enjoyed watching that. So, boys, biggest shock of the World Cup for you, maybe a positive shock and a negative shock, maybe someone who really you just are looking back and thinking, what the hell happened? RJ?
Well, the simple answer is Morocco, of course, and some of the players that they brought up, and maybe it's in terms of key players that we stood out, but Rabat, obviously from Fiorentina, fantastic performance. We all love our midfielder tier, and to me, he's in my team of the tournament. So I think that's a kudos to him and his teammates of just how well they did. But to give a different answer, a positive shock for me was probably, I'd say, just seeing some of the traditional heavyweights bow out in the group stages. I think that was something to really get people alert to say that, hang on, we're seeing something quite special here, and that's how it turned out.
Easy. Robbie, what about you, mate?
Oh, look, for me, I think I've got to go the positive one for me. The positive shock for me was how good the Socceroos done, to be honest.
100%.
Two out of 3 wins in the group stage. I told you, I had my bar set low. If we scored a goal from open play, I was happy. We got to the round of 16. I thought we gave a good account of ourselves up against now the champions. I just thought, we scored some nice goals as well. We got the nation humming again, which is really nice. I think Asia in general had a really good cup because it's been quite a few World Cups that they've really, done nothing and not really made a good account of themselves. Spain for me was a bit of a shock, a little bit. I didn't predict them to go very far, but I expected them to go a little bit more than what they did. And again, they were one of the nations that went down to the famous Morocco run. And again, what was the centre back again from Croatia?
Vardio.
Yes,
Vardio.
I think,
Chelsea's new centre back.
Yeah. Look, I didn't really know a lot about him, to be honest, and he had a very good cup. He's definitely put himself in the window for sure for someone to come and grab him. He's quite young, so I thought he's had a good cup. Harry Suter had a good cup. So there was a few players that obviously jumped out at people.
Yeah, spot on. Look, mine have been taken. It was the Socceroos in Croatia for me. I did not think Croatia were going to do much with the age in the squad, but they did very well. And look, Portugal, Ronaldo, obviously he got kind of benched towards the end. That in itself was a shock to me, but I thought he was really going to have a big cup, and he didn't. So, that definitely one big shock to me. Boys, was there anything else you wanted to cover from the cup before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just ask a quick one for you boys. What was your highlight of the tournament? Just one that springs to mind. Doesn't have to be, if you don't want it to be Socceroos specific, because we're all Socceroos at heart, just anything you wanted to call out. If wow, that was a great moment.
Probably when Messi actually got a yellow card for once. You should have had about 18. So.
Exactly.
I thought he was going to say
that was the one.
When he had his penalty save against Poland or something.
Great.
Probably that too.
You know what? I'm just going to say
the salt boys. Salt.
No, I was joking. No, look, just a random moment I'm going to say that sticks out in my head. It's not my favorite moment, but I really thought it was a nice moment. I think it was Cameroon when they beat Brazil and the guy took off his shirt and got the second yellow and the referee shook his hand and sent him off. I thought that was a pretty mad moment.
Nice one. RJ, what about you, mate? Go and talk to us about Messi again.
Nah, well, that's too predictable, mate. He's too good. But yeah, exactly. I know you love hearing about all these great stats and achievements, but we'll save that for another stream. So me, I think one of the highlights was, it's a tough one now. I asked the question, but it's put myself on the spot. I'd probably say the Richarlison goal. That was phenomenal to me. Yeah, so it's just out of nowhere, considering the goal he scored before that was quite average. And then just to pull that out of nowhere, it's like, wow, what a moment.
Yep, spot on. Robbie, Anything else you wanted to cover from the cup, mate, before we put it to bed for another 4 years?
I think we've rounded it all up, boys. It was, like I said, good cup. A lot of few big players, young, old, new players all rose to the occasion. And look, I think the fairy tale was written in the right way. I think everyone wanted one of them to try and make it to the pinnacle and get it over the line. And again, I just feel like it was, like I said from the start, I feel like it was going to be like a Netflix series, like the Last Dance, and they got their fairy tale send off anyway.
What a goal that was.
Not all of us got a fairy tale send off, but Messi did. So good on him again. Good tournament. Quickly, obviously, we've talked about Messi's legacy. People are going to use this, say, greatest of all time, and there's seriously a strong case for that. And I think the people who kind of fall into that Ronaldo camp aren't going to change their minds based on this. But I do certainly think it strengthens the case for Leo Messi and his legacy. But we've talked about that. I do want to mention, though, another young man who I think we probably didn't give enough time to, and that's Kylian Mbappe. At his age, the records that he's setting, hat-trick in a World Cup final. Can you imagine when he hits 36, what kind of records this kid's going to have in his locker when he hits the age of Messi and Ronaldo? Do you think that we might one day look back? Obviously, we've grown up blessed to watch Messi, Ronaldo, without a doubt, two of the greatest, not just footballers, but athletes of all time. Do you think one day when Mbappe hangs up the boots, we might look back and he might be in that exact same category? We might talk about him as possibly one of the greatest of all time. Robbie?
I think it's obvious to say yes. Yes, from his trajectory, yes. But I keep thinking people keep forgetting he's already won a World Cup at, what was it, 19 years old? He nearly just went back to back. I think that he's got at least another 2-3 World Cups in him with ease. But again, lots of ifs and buts. Yes. He's got to stay fit. He's got to stay at the top of his game. You know, we've seen how crazy football is, man. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you've gone. So for me, 100%, he's the next big thing that could go for another 15 years yet.
RJ, what about you, man? Put the bias aside for a minute. Do you think we might see Mbappe in that same conversation?
Man, I'm the most balanced here. You know that. I'm always the one paying credit to Ronaldo and giving him his dues. You know that. I think we need to be very careful with that. With Mbappe, I've got nothing but the highest sort of expectation for him. But what I would say is a lot of his skill set depends on his physical freak of nature, ability, and speed. At some point, he's going to decline physically. And I wonder how much of that will affect on his overall ability to maintain the trajectory he's currently on. Whereas some of the other players, like your Messis, were quick back in the day. Ronaldo's a freak athlete who's maintained it. But eventually, once the speed factor dies off, does he have enough in his locker to maintain that elite status? So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, he has to win one Ballon d'Or, let alone 7 or 8. So can he get in that conversation? But for now, mate, Champions League as well. Like, there's just so much for him to achieve, but the blueprint is there. And geez, he's a freak when he's on his day.
Spot on. Smartest thing you've said all night, and that's why we loved you. Look, boys, the Premier League is almost back. Can't wait to talk about that because Arsenal are top of the league. Can't wait to see the energy that we bring to that next podcast. But we will be back to talk about that. We're not doing that tonight. You'll have to keep an eye on our socials, though, because the schedule's been a bit of a mess with the World Cup. We've been trying to bring you content as quickly as we can in relation to things that have happened. We will go back to a more normal routine come the Premier League. Boys, did we say before stream Monday? Is that what we said? Before, was the Premier League back on Tuesday or Monday?
Boxing Day is the first game, so I guess we'll try and get together before then, do some predictions and stuff like that. Yeah. Keep an eye on the socials for when we drop.
Spot on. Keep an eye. And then in our next live stream and video, we'll let you know what the new updated schedule is going to look like. Have you got any quick fires, boys? I've got nothing. I've just spent most of my day being upset, so I've got absolutely nothing.
I'll go quick fire, boys. A bit of a quiz one for the World Cup. who was the first goal scorer in this World Cup?
Not
Who
Qatar.
played the first game?
It was Qatar and
Qatar and Ecuador.
wasn't that a 0-0?
No, it was 2 or 3-0, I think, to Ecuador.
Yeah, they lost Qatar. But I can't remember who was the first goal scorer, Robbie.
And the Valencia.
Oh,
And who went home with the Best and Fairest award? I can't remember the exact name of it.
Is that England, the trophy?
Yes. They said
It's coming home.
It's coming home, mate. They got the 1 yellow card all tournament. I think it was home or go out in the quarterfinals.
Oh, that's a good enough reason to keep Southgate on for Euro 24. So that's
that's official now too. He's come out and said he's going to stay on. So
some big news with that. Obviously, Messi not saying that he's retiring, saying that he wants to keep playing on now as world champions. Maybe
just for a few more games, I think he said. Yeah.
Oh, you reckon?
Well, that's what he said apparently. Not for the World Cup, but who knows? Maybe another Copa America.
He might do another Copa or something.
Be interesting. RJ, do you have a quick fire?
Yeah. Just who was the manager who impressed you most this tournament?
Graham Arnold, because my expectations were so low. Considering the football we played in the qualifiers, my expectations couldn't have been lower. But the way that he got the boys to play for each other, play for the badge, it was brilliant. I have to give him credit. I went from really staunch Arnold out to keep him. I'd be happy for him to stay.
Well said.
Yeah, look,
Robbie?
I think obviously the Morocco one to get them where they were. That's a big one. And just quickly, I forgot his name again. The Argentinian guy that won today. He was
Lionel Scaloni. Yeah.
Yes, youngest manager of this World Cup as well. So 44 years old, not bad.
Yeah, and I thought for him, he seems like a pretty humble guy. And apparently, the story. Great shout there to George.
Yeah, very good. He's been good for a while.
Definitely not Tite. Hey, Scott. But I was just going to say on Scaloni. Apparently, the story was that they brought him on because of the budget crisis that they were having, and he was seen to be like a cost-effective option. And look, he's brought a Copa America and now a World Cup. So it's funny how these things work. So good on him.
Boys, am I wrong with this? Before we wrap this up, am I wrong? We know Butcher and I clash on anything and everything, including the color of the sky. Did Graham Arnold not get the boys to play? Did they not surpass all our expectations?
I have to agree with you, Scotty. I think we scored goals, we won games, and we got into the knockout stages. So ticks the boxes for me.
RJ, did he get the boys to play?
Yeah, and it's all about considering who they're versing too. Like there were moments in the game where we were on the back foot, but yeah, we could have game managed certain situations a bit better at times for sure. But overall, I thought we had some pretty good passages of play and were quite good for the progression to the knockout round.
Last quick fire, boys. Deschamps, does he stay or does he go?
Stay.
It's got to go. Got to go. What a failure.
I actually think he might go, to be honest. I think he's had a really, really good run with the French team. But someone maybe like a Zidane might come in, I reckon.
No. There's only one man for the job. Arsene Wenger, mate. Arsene Wenger.
Specialist in failure.
France.
He's too high up on the FIFA and UEFA board now. I don't see him coming back to any kind of management. But I would love that. That would be nice.
He's on the brown paper bags, man.
Hard
as well. I wonder who's buying the World Cup next, huh?
Salt's coming, boys.
I've got to end this stream before the salt just takes over. So
that's it.
Go get your cholesterol check, brother. We'll see you on the next one.
Trust me, we've had a great time bringing you action from this World Cup. We hope you've enjoyed it too. Please leave a like on the video. Leave a comment if you're watching this back. Let us know what you thought of the Cup, who disappointed you, who surpassed your wildest expectations. And the boys will be back to bring you a preview of some Premier League action. It's back, baby. Arsenal top. That's all that matters now. Take care. Look after yourselves. Stay out of trouble.
Ciao.